So for problem number 12 is asking us to find the sum of the series of sine to the n 7 pi over 6. So if we want to find the sum of that series, there's only two series that we can really find the sum for, geometric and telescoping. So we need to identify if it's one of those two to be able to find the sum. Well, I see an n power in there, which tells me that this should be a geometric series. So I'm going to rewrite it in geometric form. So I have n equals 1 to infinity sine 7 pi over 6. And this n power, so it says sine to the n, but what that really means is sine of 7 pi over 6 all to the n. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to write it to an n power like that. So now I have sine of 7 pi over 6, so all I need to do is I need to figure out where 7 pi over 6 is on the unit circle. So 7 pi over 6 is a little bit more than pi, which means that it's going to be in the third quadrant. Because in the third quadrant, sine should be negative. And 7 pi over 6, if you look on the unit circle, ends up being right about there, where sine is equal to negative 1/2. So sine of 7 pi over 6 ends up becoming equals 1 to infinity of negative 1 over 2 to the n. So now we have our geometric series. Negative 1 over 2, is that less than 1? The absolute value is in fact less than 1. So therefore this should be a convergent geometric series. Which is important to note because you can only find the sum of a geometric series. If you try to find the sum of a divergent geometric series, it doesn't work. You get a garbage number that doesn't mean anything. So because we know this, we can go ahead and plug into our summation formula. Sum is equal to the first term over 1 minus r. So I'm starting at n equals 1 in this case. So my first term is just at n equals 1. So s is equal to negative 1 over 2 over 1 minus, and it's important to remember that this was a negative. Even though we took the absolute value to prove convergence, we don't stick with the absolute absolute value. All we do is we look at whatever this number is in here. So our r is negative 1/2. So when I go to plug in for r, I plug in negative 1 over 2. And when I go through and I solve this out, I end up getting negative 1 over 2, 1 plus 1 over 2, which ends up working out to negative 1 over 2, 3 over 2, which means that my sum ends up becoming negative 1 over 3, which in this case would be answer D.
The Teaching Center, UF's Learning Resource Center.